Same, but different. That's how I describe myself now after getting through the last year. I've been away from YouTube for a while, and this video is all about where I've been and why. It's about what's different in me and what hasn't changed at all, with a twist. Let's get into it. Now, many of you know that early last year in 2024, I lost my first grandson. It was a devastating event that took me off YouTube for a very long time. But as I started to heal and started to learn to live with that loss, I wanted to get back to YouTube, and I made this video here. It's been over a year since I made that video. What you don't know is that shortly after I made that video, I actually moved out of town in order to help support my son and my daughter-in-law in day-to-day life as my daughter-in-law was expecting. I wanted to be close to them, to do whatever I could to help them through those challenges. On November 20th of last year, my second grandson was born. He was born with a digestive system that just wasn't ready to be out in this world, and he passed away after only 19 days. That was December 9th. He passed away after only 19 days. I'm not gonna cry, but it was rough. And after that, I fell into a very, very deep depression. I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't want to take care of my house. I didn't want to take care of myself. I didn't want to take care of anything, because the thing I felt most called to take care of in my world at that moment was my son and daughter-in-law. I have watched these people lose 2 children, and it's devastating. There is nothing more in the world I wanted than to try to relieve their pain, and there was no way in the world I could do that. I just kind of turned into my world, turned into my own little world, and I didn't venture out of that world for quite a while. Now, at the same time this was all happening, I was feeling a whole sense of overwhelm. Obviously, I was overwhelmed in my day-to-day world because we had lost 2 grandchildren. It was just a devastating time, but there was another issue in my world that was completely overwhelming me. And that was the amount of stuff that was coming into my home, into my world, as a result of my YouTube channel. As a result of my deep depression and my overwhelm with all this stuff coming into my world, things were piling up around me in all the ways. My thoughts, my fears, my broken heart, and then just stuff coming from all over the world. And while I was very grateful that all of these brands wanted to send me their products and have me test them out and, maybe even talk about them on YouTube, it's not stuff that I would have actually gone out and purchased. Like if I was out shopping, I would not have been buying this stuff. And 95% of the stuff I got is stuff that I would never even have in my home anyway. So I constantly found myself in this cycle of receiving things that I didn't really want to have and trying to find the most useful place for them to go, because I didn't want to let all this stuff go to waste. There's so many people in the world that would want to have these things. I wanted to find a way to connect those people with those things. Due to everything that was going on in my life and me emotionally, I just didn't have the brain space to be able to work that out and do it. At the time, I felt like the best thing to do was just shut everything down and not allow anything into my space any longer. What I found in that decision was ultimately peace. It turned out that by eliminating all of these things coming into my home, I was able to start feeling much more peaceful about my space. Now, things had piled up, and they had piled up everywhere in almost all the spaces of my home, and I just could not ignore it anymore, because I am still who I am. I like a clean, organized space. I function best in a clean, organized space. I feel good about maintaining my home, my life in a clean, organized way. I couldn't ignore it. I had to clean it up. I had to organize it, and I had to get back on track. Because as much as things change, some things stay the same. And that leads me to where I am today. I still believe that the way a woman represents herself to the world, how she sees herself and how she decides she wants the world to see her, is such an incredibly important, powerful statement that we make as women. That hasn't changed. I've always believed that, and I still believe it. Because every woman has the right to feel good about herself and how she represents herself to the world every day. And I still believe that how we dress is the most immediate representation of how we feel about ourselves and how we want to tell the world who we are on a day-to-day basis. Because how we represent ourselves to the outside world matters, but how we represent ourselves to ourselves matters even more. A very big change for me, and in the way I think about doing this, has really shifted in a really, really big way. I am no longer interested in being a consumer of these things that I use to represent myself to the world. I find myself wanting to be the creator of these things I use to represent myself to the world. Now, that does not mean at all that I'm not still a consumer. I am still a consumer, always have been, probably always will be. But the way I go about it is very, very different. I am no longer interested in clothing pieces that are like mass produced. I know, it's crazy, but if you can go to Nordstrom's or Target or, Walmart, anywhere and buy it, I'm pretty much not interested in it anymore. I am much more drawn to creating unique things that are unique to me. I want to be able to choose. I want to choose the fiber. I want to choose the color. I want to choose the cut. I want to choose the fit. I want to make all the choices and create the things I choose to wear to represent myself to the world, and more importantly, to myself. I want to choose all the properties of those things. And you can't find those choices in all of those properties in mass-produced items. As I've transitioned more out of my identity as a consumer, I've transitioned into a creator identity. That's where I am today. And in doing that, I am actively pursuing a me-made wardrobe. I'm learning to create the things I want to see myself in. The colors, the fabric, the cut, the design, all of it. I want it to be unique. I want it to be just as I choose for myself. And I'm having much fun with it. I'm loving it. The deep depression that I felt after losing both of my grandsons has now lifted. The sadness that I feel after losing both of my grandsons is still very much a part of me, but I've learned to sit with it rather than to be consumed by it. I hope that makes sense. With having learned to sit with that sadness, not deny it, and not be consumed by it, but to acknowledge it and to really cherish the deep love I have for my grandsons, along with my ability to be able to create these ultra personal clothing items that I wear every day to represent myself to the world, has been really freeing because I feel authentic. I feel like me. It's just me and who I am. But let me tell you what else it is. It's really, really challenging to try to learn how to make your own clothes. It's a lot more challenging than I ever would have thought it would have been when I started on this journey several months ago. I've made a lot of progress, but I still make a lot of mistakes. A lot. But don't worry, we'll get into that. You will find that much about this channel going forward is exactly how it's always been in the past. The message that I want to bring to every video I make is still the same. I want to empower you to go out into the world, see the world, travel, or, just go to Walmart feeling your very best. But more importantly, I want to empower you to feel the very best about yourself when you see yourself in the mirror, because that's the image that matters. Not the image that else sees, but the image of yourself that you see. And that message has not changed a bit. That is still the foundation of this channel. But how I'm going to go about that now is different. Really, really different. The channel overall, just like me, because the channel is a reflection of who I am, is really same, but different. And I am super excited to start sharing that with you regularly again, because this is a lot of fun for me. And I think it's going to be fun for you too. If you're interested and you want to hang out for the ride, please do consider subscribing to the channel. If you don't want to subscribe, that is no problem at all. You are welcome to come back anytime you want. I would love it if you subscribe, but if you don't, you're still welcome. Come hang out anytime you want. Subscribed or not, doesn't matter. If you have a few more minutes today, I'd love to see you in this video here, but if not, no worries. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.